Hi everyone, I'm City Council Member Erica Strassburger. This week we have our big public meeting on the city's budget and some line item budget votes. So I thought this would be a good time to lay out some of my thoughts and to respond to some specific concerns that many people have raised at City Council meetings and by email. Please bear with me, we're gonna get into the weeds a bit. Hopefully this clarifies my thinking for you. So one big request we've heard is to reduce the police budget by 20 to 50%. So I've analyzed police data that shows that about 19% of tasks that are currently done by police could conceivably be done by someone or something other than police officers. These include parking and traffic violations, responding to homelessness, drug overdoses, and some mental health emergencies. Whole buckets of issues that have been dumped on the police over time. This year's budget does shift 5% of the police operating budget over to the new Stop the Violence Fund, along with an additional $250,000 to help fund the new Office of Community Health and Safety. Now, this new office, along with the Allegheny County Department of Human Services, Allegheny Health Network, and some other partners, will soon send trained social workers out with officers to help respond to calls like the ones I mentioned that require more wraparound services in what's called a co-responder model. I do agree that the city's police budget should be reduced. However, major reductions cannot and should not happen overnight. Reducing the budget 20 to 50% just can't happen without laying off police officers. And I do not support laying off any person, by extension their family, during a time when jobs are scarce, when most everyone's mental health is suffering. It's simply not something I can vote for. If you want to talk about police behavior, hiring, training, let's have that conversation because I agree major changes have to happen. Even if I'd prefer to see social workers responding to human services type emergencies, the fact of the matter is that the police are among those responding to these emergencies right now. And the Office of Community Health and Safety will take time to grow and can't fill in all of the gaps overnight. So I realize this isn't bold enough for some of you, but to me, it's the responsible move. So here's the kicker. Even if we wanted to lay off police officers, we can't legally do that. Because our state law empowers police unions, it's very difficult to suspend or fire a police officer in a city like Pittsburgh. When you look at Act 265 of 1951, still in effect, we could potentially lay off police officers if the city runs a deficit. Even though the city is truly hurting for money right now, the mayor was able to present council with a balanced budget, which means we don't currently have a deficit on paper. Now, come July, if we don't get some assistance from the federal government, we won't have any choice but to lay off 600 plus city employees, including police officers. I hope it doesn't come to that, but that's what we're all bracing for. That said, council did pass a bill this summer asking the mayor to freeze the hiring of new police recruit class in 2021, and Mayor Peduto agreed. With the number of police officers up for retirement, we could see anywhere from 50 to 200 police retire next year. So we will expect to see the department shrink due to attrition a bit. So where does that leave us when it comes to getting the money needed to fund essential programs that do increase resident safety and security, like housing, food, jobs, and opportunity? We've been asked repeatedly to tax UPMC and other large nonprofits. And while I think every member of council would vote tomorrow to get the city's large nonprofits to pay property taxes or even just payroll preparation taxes, it's not something the city can enact. Only the state legislature can do that. So let's work together to get them to do this, shall we? Another way to fund these essential things is through borrowing money. Through bonds, we can borrow money for certain infrastructure projects, including affordable housing. Currently, the city's Urban Redevelopment Authority funds affordable housing projects through the $10 million that's generated each year for the Housing Opportunity Fund through real estate transfer taxes. By borrowing money and having a sound plan to pay it back, we could be putting upwards to $50 or even $100 million a year into affordable housing projects. Interest rates are low, and like I said, we have no money right now, so I can't think of a better time to borrow money. We can also pass a legislation that will soon be before council that will start to fund the Avenues of Hope program run by the Urban Redevelopment Authority to fund commercial business districts in historically Black neighborhoods in Pittsburgh. And lastly, we can enact the parks tax that voters approved on the ballot last year. To me, this is an equity issue and a way to improve the quality of life for Pittsburghers living in historically disinvested communities. So that's my assessment of the budget. I hope you enjoyed it. If you stuck with me to this far, you get a gold star. I realize that was a lot. I wanted to lay out in detail something I've spent many hours thinking about this fall and convey how complex some of this stuff is. And I also want to mention that the second version of my paper on reimagining public safety comes out this Wednesday. And there is where I get into the details of policing and public safety and many of the changes that need to happen over time. So be on the lookout for that on my District 8 webpage. Thanks again. I'll see you next time.